So what I would suggest to you is here, and this is what we're going to focus on, okay, is I want you to take this into account right now. This trading foundation is solid. I think that whenever I get into, when I'm talking about institutions, when I'm talking about the banks and so on, one of the things that always strikes me about them is that they are businesses, right? They're businesses. And as businesses, they have an operating procedure, they have a plan. Obviously, they started small, they've got big. But I always say you need to treat your trading as a business as well. Why is it important to treat it as a business? Guys, it's not a hobby. And anybody in the room with me right now has been doing this for a little while knows that, yes, you can make great amounts of money out of this, but you can lose tons as well. And for every success I've ever seen in the market, I've seen a dozen horror stories as well. And I don't say that to unnerve people, because I think people should understand what the waters are like before they jump in. Well, the way to avoid that is to think about it like a big institution. Think about it and go to the market with a solid foundation. Go to the market with a true plan. And it all begins with the risk management, which I'm sure you've heard many, many times. But I like to kind of just paint things in a slightly different way to see if these things get through to people. So firstly, it's the art of knowing how much you're going to risk when you take a trade. Secondly, it's knowing the correct, proper order execution with a solid platform that's going to allow you to buy, sell, and take profits and get out when you're wrong, automated. Then comes the market and technical knowledge. This is the stuff that you can learn. And I want you to focus on this slide for just a second. Risk management, order execution, and market technical knowledge. This is the stuff that you can learn. This is the education. The tough bit is what comes next. The discipline, the psychology, the confidence, and the experience. Guys, where does the discipline come from? You tell me. Where does discipline come from? Can I teach you discipline? Do you think I've taught 5,000 odd students discipline? Where do you think discipline comes from, guys? I want to get some interaction with you guys. We're going to be together inside of you guys, right, Ray? Okay. Within you, yeah, exactly. You need to do it, don't you? You need to. I always make my little joke whenever I'm in the front of a room. It's different when I'm doing a webinar. Maybe it won't go down the same way because you can't see people's faces. But if you could package up bottles of discipline, what a great business, huh? Selling bottled discipline. It's something that we all have when we want it, but we seem to be able to turn it off when we don't want it. Because every single one of you in the room right now is disciplined. You know that. You're disciplined in some areas of your life. So why can't you replicate that level of discipline into different areas, right? Would you not agree with me on that? If you can be disciplined in one area of your life, surely you could be disciplined in another area of your life too, right? This is something that we need to strongly think about, okay? So that comes from you. Now, the stronger discipline gives you a rock-solid psychology, gives you a confidence, and it gives you that all-important experience, yeah? There's no reason why this bit can't work, but you're never going to get the experience to stay in the game long enough and have the confidence and the solid psychology if you don't have the discipline in the first place to do the things that you need to do. And yeah, patience is a huge part of this as well. My little challenge for all of you guys today is assess your trade plan. How have you accounted for all these different areas in your trade plan? Why is it easier for an institutional trader to be disciplined? I'll tell you why, because they got someone looking over their shoulder saying, you don't do your job right, you're out. You know, some of those guys who have shown lack of discipline in the past, the Nick Leesons of this world, what happened to them? Right? What happened to them? Yeah? Patience, exactly. You guys are saying patience is a huge, huge part of this. Absolutely. All right. So they're the components that we need. They're part of our business plan. There's one other little section of this that I really enjoy as well. The elements that any strategy is required for you to be successful. And by the way, let me state this very, very clearly to you guys. By no way do I think the way that I trade is the best way to trade. I'll make that real clear to you. I don't think the way I trade is necessarily the best way to trade, because there are other traders who make money in the market. Yeah, it's what works for me. Exactly, Alan. Great stuff. I don't put down to what's best, what isn't best. It's about having a structure that works for you as an individual and that allows you to be profitable and manage your risk, right? What I want to do is offer you a different perspective of the market. Not necessarily I'm saying this is the only way. I'm saying to you, here's another way to look at it, right? Because the success is in the results, right? The success is in the results, and the success isn't down to the person. It's down to what that person does. You understand? Yeah. And if you know, and at the end of the day, as long as you're following things here, it's about stacking probability on your side, because the first thing of all of this is about putting probability on your side, no matter what your strategy is, okay? And ascertaining the risk before you take a trade, and then using the leverage of the markets to help you. Now, one of the things that's really important that I've found, and again, I've got people in the room here of varying experience, okay? One of the huge kisses of death I've seen in the market year after year is people jumping into the world of Forex because they're attracted to the leverage. Now, is leverage a good thing? Absolutely. Leverage is fantastic. You know, but it can also be a dangerous, terrible thing. Just like driving a car. A car's a useful tool, but if you drive it recklessly, it'll kill you, right? Everything's got its yin and its yang, okay? The problem you have with a lot of people is they start with leverage and they over leverage themselves first, which means that they take on way too much risk, which means they eat into their account and they reduce the probability of success. Yeah? So what we need to do is do it in this order. Stack the odds in our favor first, define our risk, and then use leverage. Do you not think that's a smarter way to do it, guys? Get the probability on our side first, define our risk, and then use the leverage afterwards. Our core strategy that we work with is all about the probability and the risk. That's the side of it to do first. And then, guys, we can use things, futures on currencies, Forex, options, equities, and so on, to then have our leverage. So our solution for me is basically having a combination of a solid core strategy that you're going to use and then embracing the leverage afterwards. And this is an institutional way of thinking, right? Understand my market, define my risk, then embrace the leverage. All right, cool. So let's get into the strategies or the principles here that we want to adopt to help us get our levels of success in the market. All right. This was taught to me very early on in my trading career by people who found their way, who were taught and saw the market from one perspective only, and that perspective was from an institutional perspective. The people who I learned from grew up or had their career, should I say, on the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the Chicago Board of Trade. And it doesn't matter if it's currencies or stocks or commodities you're trading, these same principles apply. The principle here with the patented core strategy, and the strategy that Online Trading Academy teaches is a patented one. So you'll find we're the only school in the world who teaches it. But our principle is this: the lowest risk, the highest reward, and highest probability entry point into any market, irrespective of what it is going to be at or near the turn in price. What that means is we need to be able to time the market's turning points. And in doing it in advance with a high degree of accuracy, because that defines our risk and also defines our reward. And then in every market, prices are going to turn at levels where supply and demand is out of balance. Yeah? You're going to hear these two words with me a lot today: supply and demand. Supply and demand. When those two things are out of balance, you're going to create moves in the market. Those moves in the market are going to give us a clue where we should be buying and we should be selling.